Hi you guys. Tonight's video is going to be me reading from a book. I just ordered these the other day on Amazon. I was kind of iffy about reading this to you guys, but actually this is a compilation of lore books from Elder Scrolls Online, and if I was playing the game and I found one of these books, and I've actually done it before on my gameplays, I would open it and read it to you guys from the screen on there. So this is just a compilation of all of those same books kind of put together in a certain order. And let me show the books to you guys. This came in a 2-box set, but I do believe you can get them separately. The first one is Tales of Tamriel. Book 1, The Land. It's a beautifully bound book. And I'll just give you a quick peek. The inside of it, there's a map of Tamriel. And the entire book is like this with beautiful illustrations and things like that. Without showing you too much, there are just this really, really gorgeous illustrations. And like I said, it's the lore books that you can find in the game. So and this is the book too that I have. This is the book 2, the lore. The first one was the land. This book is blue as opposed to maroon color, but they have the same kind of look on the outside with the ring of the lion, the dragon, and the eagle. I think it's an eagle. But anyway, those are the 2 books. You can get them in a box set, or you can get them separately. But I think I'm going to read some from the first book, The Land. And like I said, I'm not going to show you all the imagery because if you'd like to see them, you need to purchase the book. But what I am reading is just lore books that are found throughout the game. You could spend hours just reading lore books, and I guess they've compiled some of the better ones. I'm sorry, I know that made a sound on my microphone when I tapped that. Some of the better ones into a book. So I'm just going to pick some stories out of here and read them to you. I'll read the Tamriel authors that supposedly wrote them. And I know, being the way I am, that I will not read some of the names correctly. I know that. So if you would like to correct me, please feel free to. I've got a little candle and candle holder here. I thought you guys might need something to look at, so I'm going to light a candle so it can be like flickering. So hold on just a second. Okay, so, oh no. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so, like I said, I'm going to be reading from book 1, The Land. So, you guys just sit back and relax and listen to some of this lore book that I will be reading to you guys. Let's see. Here is a story entitled The Eagle and the Cat by Lord Garashri, speaker for the Main. This is obviously a book written by a Khajiit. A wife, a husband, a son or daughter, mother or father, aunt or uncle. Each of us has lost one or more of these. It has touched every family and elsewhere. The dreadful epidemic, the terrible plague, the Hayden flu. Oh my gosh, I can't remember how you pronounce it was kind of like the equivalent of the plague in this imaginary world. So, in reminiscence, let's see. Do I skip a page? It started in Central on Sweet Street in the Black Kirko slums among the Skumastruck. At first, the city elders dismissed it as a toxin in the goods, but then it spread to Doggy's Pride and Squinty, and was reported from the docks in Alabaster as well. And suddenly, it was everywhere. Torval, Orcris, Dune, Corinth, and all points in between. The winds of Gendrathi bore the coughing and retching to every ear. We seemed to be witnessing the death of cats on Nern. Slowly, elsewhere began to fight back against its doom. Clan Mother Misabako of Corinth first identified how the flu spread from Khajiit to Khajiit. Rathunila Dawnwhisker, a daughter of Azara from Riverhold, distilled a sorghum tea that mitigated the worst of the symptoms. Even I contributed, organizing the remnants of the Main's Legion to maintain order and put this new knowledge to use. But it was not enough. Everywhere Khajiit were dying by the litter, by the bride. Then, past all expectation, help arrived from an unforeseen direction. Over the western waves came the elves of Somerset, bringing physicians, healers, desperately needed supplies. And one more thing, hope. Hope that elsewhere would survive. I'm going to check my time on here. Okay, my air conditioning just came on, so... Well, I was trying to get that out of the flickering light. At first, many cats were suspicious. Never before had the haughty high elves helped the Khajiit. Why now? But their cannon reeves passed among us, as if unafraid of the flu, and explained the Altmer did not from friendship, but from policy. We needed their help now, and they would need our help later. Invaders were coming to southwest Tamriel, they said, and the high elves could not repulse them without Khajiit claws at their side. To fight against mutual enemies, that was a logic we cat folk could understand. So we accepted the aid of the high elves and their sly cousins, the wood elves, and gradually I wish I could remember how to say this, the flu began to recede. And when Queen Ariane of Alinor proposed the alliance treaty of the Altmer Dominion, we took Plume and Claw and signed it. Now, fellow Khajiit, we have been through the forges of torment, and with our new allies we emerge stronger than ever. We welcome the chance to test blade and edge against these invaders, to spill their blood and take their bright objects, for now is the time of the Dominion. The next one is Master Zorim's Tale by Gant. Also another Khajiit story. The Temple of Two Moons dance in Torval has for many hundreds of years been the finest training ground in all Tamriel for warriors. Of foot and fist. The master teaches students of all ages from all parts of Tamriel the most ancient techniques and the most modern variations, and many a former pupil has graduated to great fame. I myself trained there. As a young child, I remember asking my first master, Zorium, which former student he felt had the best learned the lessons of the temple. I was not a teacher when I met this man, but a student myself, he said, smiling. Sorry guys, this thing is flickering horribly. I just really need to get it out of the way of the... so it doesn't distract you. In reminiscence, his great wrinkled face began even more like the withered fruit of the bathroom tree. This was long ago, before your parents were born. For many years I had trained at the temple, rising to study in more difficult and demanding classes, taught by the wisest and most learned masters of the two-moon dance. Gant, you will come to understand that the tempering of your body must attend the tempering of your mind, and there is a prescribed order of training we at the temple have designed over the years in accordance with the way of Rildar. My cat's looking at me like, why are you making this sound? There was a servant of the temple at the time, a Dunmer a few years older than myself and those in my class. We had never noticed him but in passing over the years, for he would enter the training chambers quietly, clean for a few minutes' time, and leave without saying a word. Not that we would have listened if he spoke, so enwrapped were we in our exercises and lessons. When our last master told some of us, myself included, that the time had come for us to leave the temple or become teachers, there was a great festival of celebration. The man himself decided to visit and observe our ceremony, as we were and are a temple of philosophy and combat. There were contests of debate and competitions in the temple's war arena, not only among the elite few, but open to all students. On the first day of the festival, I was examining the gladiatorial roster to see who I would fight with first when I heard a conversation behind me, the servant speaking to the archpriest of the temple. It was the first time I heard the Dunmer's voice, and the first time I heard his name. I understand you wish to rejoin your people's struggle in Morrowind, Terran, the archpriest was saying. I am sorry to hear you. You have been an institution here for many, many years, and you will be missed. If there's anything I can do for you, please name it. Thank you for your kindness, the Dunmer replied. I do have a request, but I fear you would be loath to grant it. Ever since I first came to the temple, I have been watching the students learn and practiced myself when my duties allowed for it. I know I am but a servant here, but I would be honored if you would allow me to compete in the war arena. I stifled my gasp at the Mer's impertinence to even suggest that he would be worthy to fight with those of us who had trained so hard. To my surprise, the archpriest agreed, adding the name Terran Omathan to the roster in the beginner's level. I was eager to whisper the news to my fellow elite students, but my first bout was scheduled to begin in a few minutes' time. Part 2. I stifled my gasp at the Mer's impotence. I'm saying that same thing again. Okay. I fought 18 competitions in a row. Besting all, the crowd gathered in the arena knew my prowess and gave polite, unsurprised applause at the end of each fight. As much as I focused on my own battles, I could not help noticing the other competitors were receiving more and more attention in the arena. The spectators whispered among themselves, and more began drifting away to see something that was evidently more spectacular and unusual than my unbroken string of victories. One of the most important lessons we teach from the Two Moons Dance is the lesson of rejecting one's vanity. I understood that the importance of achieving a personal synchronicity with one's body and mind, of rebuffing outside influences, of no importance, but I admit I had not accepted the lesson in my heart. I knew I was good, but my pride was hurt. It came down to a contest of champions, and I was one of the two. When I saw who the other fighter would be, my mood turned from one of wounded dignity to complete disbelief. My adversary was the servant, Taran. It might be a joke or some final philosophical test, I reasoned. Then I looked into the crowd and saw anticipation of a great battle to come in every eye. We gave to one another the sign of respect, I stiffly and he with a great elegance and modesty. The fight began. Initially, I sought to end it quickly, still thinking that he was unworthy to be cleaning the arena, let alone fighting in it. In retrospect, I was being illogical, as I must have known. He had bested as many students as I had to reach the final level. He offered simple counterblows to my attacks and responded in kind. His style was expansive, encompassing sophisticated, arcane foot play one moment and simple jabs and kicks the next. I tried a semblance intended to dazzle, but his face never showed either fear or contempt of my abilities. The fight lasted a long time. I don't recall when I realized I was destined to lose, but when it ended, I was not surprised by the outcome. With a sense of unusual and true modesty, I bowed to him, but I could not resist asking him as we left the arena, to the sound of thunderous applause, how he had so secretly grown to become a master. I never had a chance to rise in the temple, Taran replied. Every day I cleaned the training chambers of the elite classes and then the beginners, so you see, I never had the misfortune to forget those early mistakes, lessons, and techniques while observing and learning the ways of the masters. He left Torval early the next morning to return to his homeland, and I never saw him again, though I've heard people say that he's become a priest and a teacher. I became a teacher as well, for children just beginning their training in the 2 moons as well as the elite, and I make certain to bring my best pupils to see how the unlearned fight, so that they might never forget. Okay, guys. That was just a few of the lore stories from the Tales of Tamriel, Book 1. Like I said, you can see these same stories. You can find them on the ESO game in random places. Some of the lore books they will intentionally place somewhere